So we have a VHS tape here that is in pretty rough shape. You can even take a look at it and see there's some rust or dirt or something on there. And when we open it up and look at the inside of the tape, that is pretty nasty. These reels won't even move. So what we're going to do is take this apart and see how much of this tape is damaged. Taking a VHS tape apart is pretty easy. There's usually just 5 screws, 4 on the corners, and 1 in the center. And of course, because there's a label on there, it's not going to pull straight off, so we usually have to kind of peel it. We want to try to save the label as much as possible. So there we have the top. Can be careful not to lose the rollers here. So we're going to take the reels out. Put this over here for the moment and take a look at it. It appears that the rest of the tape is good. It's just this bad section, and we don't even want that touching the heads on the VCR because it is going to cause an immediate problem. So we are going to just do a cut there, cut there. It's always a good idea as well to make sure your hands are washed before you do this, just to make sure you don't get any excess oils on there. A little bit isn't going to really damage the tape too much. But the least amount of time you can be handling the physical tape, the better. Now keep in mind when we splice this, the part that actually holds the information is on the outside of the tape. So when we want to splice it, we're actually going to put the tape on the back of it. And just regular old Scotch tape will work. You just want to make sure that there's no gap there. We absolutely do not want any of that sticky part of the Scotch tape hitting the drum on the VCR, because that's going to cause a problem. We'll have to wind up cleaning the heads. And then we'll wind that back a little bit, take a quick look. Seems to be okay. Now this case is in kind of rough shape to begin with, so what I'm going to do is take this label off. If the case was in better shape, I'd just reuse it, but we have a number of basically unused old blank VHS tapes that we keep around for parts. So I have one I've taken apart here already in case I needed it. This top label may be an issue, so I'm going to save that for later. But if I can't get this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rubber band this to the new tape, the new shell, give it back to the customer just so they have this as a reference, just in case that is different from any of the information that's on the spine label. This I'll reattach. So we're going to take our new case, and just FYI, this little section in here, this is the part that actually locks the reels when the tape isn't in. And what happens is when you stick the tape in the VCR, this unlocks those like so. Sometimes these can actually cause a problem if you have a tape that won't play. The reels just won't move even if you put something in the bottom there to try to release that mechanism. They won't move. Many times I'll just take that part out because honestly it doesn't affect how the tape is moving through the VCR. It's really just to keep it from spooling out when it's outside of it. And if it's causing a playback problem, like I said, I'll just remove it, not worry too much about it. It's not the end of the world. It's not like these tapes are going to be played over and over and over again. In this case, I'm going to keep it in here because it's essentially a brand new mechanism, so it shouldn't cause me any issues. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get this in just at the right angle. There we go. And then wind that. You can actually hear the mechanism clicking as I pull it tight. And make sure everything is lined up. And you go to put the case back on, the top of the case, and everything should close up nice and tight. We'll take our screws, put it back together. Now, most of the time we have to do this repair because the tape is already broken. The tape itself may be in good shape, it just may have broken due to a problem with the VCR or just age of the tape. And again, we do the same thing. We'll pull apart, and even if you know, if there's a break there, we might cut off a little bit of either side of the tape, because frequently when it does break, it doesn't break in a straight vertical line across the tape. So we'll just recut it a little bit to clean up the edge, and then retape it just like we did here. So now we put this back in. If I go to put the screwdriver up there, I should be able to turn these reels in either direction, which seems to be working. I'm going to take this spine label, this little Scotch tape, that way. Just want to make sure that this doesn't pop up inside the VCR, because again, anything floating around in the VCR's mechanism can cause problems. Problems as simple as just not playing back correctly, but can also damage the heads if it flies around in there. So, all right, so our tape is good to go. We're going to pop it back in and continue the transfer process.